of Denise and Galen Go to Korea, except this episode is sort of Denise and Galen Go to Helsinki, Berlin, Amsterdam, and a thing called the Center Park. And this sort of began with a very surprising cultural experience where I got to be Santa Claus for APIS, something I never would have predicted. They had a really good Santa costume, and I think because I was an old white guy with a beard, they felt like I had to do it, and I couldn't say no. And it was fun to be Santa for all the elementary school kids. A few of them thought they recognized me and said, I think that's Mr. Denise as Santa, but I think I pulled it off pretty well, thanks mostly to the costume. Didn't have to use a pillow in my belly, but it did enhance my beard a lot. And then we took off for Helsinki to see our friends Jana and Jorma.
We've been friends with Jana and Jorma. Actually, I knew them before I knew Galen. So we met them when they came to the United States to live for a couple of years, like we have come to Korea to do the same. They were working, but Jorma was working and Jana was at home like me at this point, although she had a small child to care for. And we've been friends ever since then and have met up with them a couple of times to travel. And
Here's
also
a picture of us as 20-something children, early 30s, in Portugal.
With a 1-year-old Carson.
Yeah.
And we've also went to Helsinki on our honeymoon, and Galen had reconnected with them when he went to Lithuania. So it is a long-standing friendship where we get the opportunity to experience the real Finnish life and go to the sauna and do all the Helsinki things.
It was great to see them again, and that was kind of the prelude to the rest of our trip where we went to Berlin, which was definitely the kind of tourist segment of the trip. But it was great. I had a really good time there. Always wanted to see Berlin because of its history as a cultural, artistic center with a giant gap in the middle there of being the center of the Nazi regime and the Holocaust, which we also paid some historical attention to. But really, for us, it was more about going to see some fantastic music and art and what Berlin had been and still is now. And it was very interesting to learn about their perspective on the Berlin Wall and the communist period and what that meant for East Germany. We were actually staying in East Germany, the portion that used to be East Germany anyway, in Berlin, and got to stay in a historic bathhouse with a very cool pool in the middle, and enjoyed that whole experience very much, riding the tram around everywhere and seeing some amazing music. Great tourist experience with some really good food too.
And getting naked with some young German women in their saunas.
Yeah, exactly. So then we took off to see the family and went to Amsterdam, where we expected to meet up with them and stay in a boat on a canal, which sounds and is as romantic as it sounds, but unfortunately Denise got COVID.
So I had a very mild cold and actually would not have bothered to test, but Mark's sister recently gave birth, and I was going to meet up with a 5-week-old baby and thought I better err on the side of caution, and I guess I'm glad I did, but it meant that Galen and I isolated for 5 days, 3 in Amsterdam and 2 at the center parks, which we'll tell you about. Luckily, I tested negative really rather quickly, so we got to join the family on New Year's Eve day and spend the rest of the week with them. So we still had a whole week with the gang.
So aside from getting to see the family, Carson and Mark and Arlo and Ziggy and Ben and Jeroen and Karen and the new baby, the lady, and Jeroen's new good friend whose name is
Liam.
It was great. Family vacation in the Netherlands. Well, the kind of cultural part of this whole thing was staying at the Center Park, which I know we kind of have things or have had things like this in the States, where it's a place designed for, middle class families, working people to go on vacation together and get a cabin, pretty nice little house. It was like many dozens of these
Oh,
place
hundreds.
to stay. Yeah, hundreds. Yeah, and you go to this indoor swimming or indoor tennis or indoor laser tag or
Bowling, mini golf,
4 different restaurants. It's a whole scene. And
rent
so,
bicycles.
yeah, definitely designed for families and kids, and kept Arlo and Ziggy very entertained. We got to hang out and make a fire, a legitimate fire in a fireplace in the evenings, and go for a rainy bike ride. I am proud to have earned my provisional Dutch citizenship, going for a bike ride with Mark and Carson and Ziggy in the rain into the next little town to get fried food for lunch.
Arlo and I stayed home because Arlo had a cold, and I wasn't sad.
And after that, we went back to Amsterdam briefly, toured the Anne Frank house to kind of pull a little bit full circle around the World War II and Holocaust history that we experienced in Berlin, which does feel kind of strange in the context of what's going on in the Middle East right now, but moving in a lot of different ways. And then we came back to Korea on a Sunday, and I started teaching on a Monday.
Miraculously, like home at 9:30 at night on Sunday, and Galen got up and went to work at 7 a.m., rode his bike in the 8-degree temperature as well.
Yeah, and even got to have some snow here. So we're pretty settled back into Korea, and I've gotten over the jet lag, and we're ready to get back into our lives here. We're going to a lantern festival this evening.
Outdoors in the 22-degree weather.
We're fine with that. We'll dress appropriately. Thanks everybody for checking in. This was, I guess, it's kind of travelogue edition. Probably posting again sometime in the not too distant future. And thanks again. See ya.